If you're following Depp First Heard, you probably know Amber's got a friend named Eve Barlow. Some people say Eve is a romantic partner, some people say a journalist, some people say some other things. But the fact is, Eve is on Twitter and social media all the time defending Amber, and now it seems she had a little back and forth with Colonel Kurtz. Colonel Kurtz is a great YouTuber who just expresses her opinion and gets a lot of facts out there. But I think Eve doesn't like that kind of thing. So these are slightly out of order, but you'll get the gist. And I want to take some things from Twitter first, then look at the Instagram account and the more full version of the comments. So, first, Eve says, "Babe, I really hope someone shows you some love this year so you don't have to do this anymore." Obviously, responding to Colonel Kurtz's tweet here that said Eve Barlow's Instagram allows comments now, so I left her a couple of notes and replies, because Eve used to shut off comments, limit them, and things like that. So, this also says that Eve is, coming down and arguing with more of the general public, not just the big mainstream media, things like that. And again, Colonel Kurtz tweets, "Eve Barlow reposting me. She says I need love. Please give me some love, everyone." And yeah, I think Colonel Kurtz's channel is great. I've been on it 2 times now. Probably got like, I don't know, 100,000 views. So I'm happy to help her channel. This tweet here's got 13,000 views. So people are watching what's being said here. And then Colonel Kurtz clips out these. Amber Heard friend Eve Barlow and I going at it on her recent Instagram post. This one kind of got clipped off, but it's from Colonel Kurtz's original Twitter account. We'll get to the real thing in a minute. So I say, great response, and I got 420 views on that, which is pretty interesting. This person down here says, "That's right though. Your grift based on the 'I'm not like other girls, I carry water for the R word men' will end, and it will the men who attack you." Got some great grammar there. Not sure what that meant, but this person's no fan of Colonel Kurtz, and the problem is, the accusations there aren't proven, because who's she talking about? Johnny? That's not proven. Is she talking about Marilyn Manson? That's not proven. So who's this person talking about? And this person here looks like she defends Colonel Kurtz. And once again, Migranal, if I'm saying that right, says nobody asked for this idiot to make things harder for every victim, yet she does. There's the whole problem wrapped up right there. No one's saying every victim. We're talking about specific people, not just Amber. We're also talking about some other people in the news, like Evan Rachel Wood, talking about Angelina Jolie, and things like that. We're talking about high profile celebrity women when there's millions of bucks at stake. We're not talking about the nurses, the school teachers, the flight attendants, and things like that. We're talking about high profile people. That's one thing that their side of the aisle really has got to get straight. This person here says Eve is such a tit, but I'm curious as to how you are not blocked by her. I am, and I thought most Depp supporters were, which is a good question, because Eve does a lot of blocking. Haven't quite heard that insult in that way. If so, not in a long time and not too often. But alright. Eve thinks she's important just like AH. They think only their voice matters, when in reality, they are both nobodies without talking about JD. They know that, and they're jealous and mad, talentless losers. Yeah, Johnny or Elon Musk or some other very, very big famous figure they've got to leech onto and talk about. Obviously, always negative. They're always the victim. The person always did something wrong. They're always this terrible monster in society. So here's from Eve's Instagram. Bit late sharing this. Thank you to the Times and Megan a Mag, whatever that is, for so beautifully capturing this story. I'm thrilled that we can start the new year as we mean to go on. We promised that we wouldn't let this one go, and in order to fulfill that promise, you have to keep on. Things will change. They already are. Shout out to everyone not pictured who is also an Avenger. Laugh out loud. You know who you are. So she's talking about an article in the UK Times that's pay only, by the way, claiming that a certain group of people are Amber's Avengers. The article, I read some of it. I'm not paying for it, but they call Johnny supporters super fans and Depp heads and things like that, which some of them are. Maybe 2%, 3%, 4%, a very small percent. Most of us are just casual fans, and a lot of us are people who suffered abuse, and we see an abuser in the form of you know who. So, Kurtz says here, correction, Amber wasn't judged for crying or not crying. She was judged for faking cry expressions and noises with not one tear shed. We know she's capable of actual tears because we've seen it, the deaf charity appearance. So, yes, it's clear she was trying to fake cry at trial and couldn't. Like her acting coach said, she couldn't fake cry. Dead on, exactly. Amber defenders want to make it like we're making fun of her crying. What people are making fun of, or calling out, or being critical of, if you want to put it in a little better way, is she wasn't actually crying. Then Colonel Kurtz says Eve just can't or won't see who Amber really is. Meanwhile, her crusade for this abuser negates her Jewish activism. It's a shame Eve has let her friend hijack her life and energy this way. So Eve says some political things I don't totally disagree with, but the stuff she says about Amber really interrupts that and disrupts that, and they go in two different directions. So I think people will be more willing to listen to Eve if she cooled down on Amber. Might be too late at this point, or if she never actually defended Amber so gung ho, like hundreds of tweets about Amber. And here's where Eve actually replied to Colonel Kurtz, saying, "Oh, it's you. Hasn't your grift run dry yet? Remember when you wasted London Met Police time after stalking me online and reporting me for breaking COVID restrictions, which I didn't do, so that you could film it for your disgusting YouTube channel? Go off on your moral high ground. I'm not sure you can stalk someone online. You can follow someone, but if you stalk someone at their house, they can't really go anywhere at night, so you can't stalk them. But online, I don't know, just not sure that term applies. This person here is on Eve's side, but after all, it is Eve's account with thousands of followers, so that does make sense. Well, what she says doesn't make sense, but it makes sense that she'd be on Eve's side. And then Colonel Kurtz says this: unfortunately, my YouTube grift, quote unquote, will probably never be as successful as the grift Amber ran on Johnny. I'll give her credit for a long con that worked for a while. Right, yeah, it worked on some people for a while. And by the way, a grift isn't a grift if you believe and you care about the subject you're talking about. For example, if I hate the Disney Star Wars movies, but I make a bunch of videos saying I love them, that's a grift. If I hate the Disney Star Wars movies and I make videos saying I hate them, that's not a grift because it's true. So, a grift is really hard to prove. Sometimes we know who's grifting, or we've got a good idea, but usually that's your own opinion about who's grifting and who isn't. Anyway, let me know what you think down below. Doing pop culture, entertainment, things like that. If you don't subscribe here, I'll be pretty sad about it. But if you do, I'll be happy about it. See you next time.